Cool. So we got a couple people filtering in. Go ahead and say hi as you're joining. Let us know where you're calling in from, and we'll give people a few more minutes, and we'll go from there. Oh, and if you have any questions too as you're joining, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and we'll be able to address them as we go. We had a few different things that we were planning on talking about, but definitely go ahead and put any questions you have about Cardano, about the stake pool, yeah, blockchain in general. Yeah, no, totally, yeah. Axis, yeah, totally. Fire away, and yeah, go ahead and write the comments there and the questions. California. So Francisco says, hello from California, new to the crypto world and binging Cardano videos. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. Asus, where are you calling in from? So yeah, so as other people join, we have a few more people that are starting to come in. Go ahead and say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from, and drop any questions too that you have, and we'll get to them here in a minute. Cool. So yeah, we'll give them like one more minute and we'll get started. And the other thing too, California gang, fantastic. The other thing too that I'll say is keep in mind that there is a delay from the time that you write your comment or your question and then the time that I see it. And then due to the streaming and then the going live, there's also a delay between the time that I respond and then when you see it. So we'll have a bit of a lag going on here, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, no, Cardano is definitely a project to get excited about. So cool. Let's go ahead and get started, and then people can filter in as they see it. So yeah, go ahead and drop the questions in the chat, and I'll kind of go through a few things here that we were hoping to cover. Chicago, hello Leo from Chicago. This is awesome. Yeah, everybody, let us know where you're joining from, and we'll give shout outs. I'm live here from Denver. Let me and I guess that's fine. We can start now, and then we'll say hi to other people as they join. So let's switch over. I want to say, hey everybody, thanks for joining the our first Q&A live stream. So welcome back to Woodland Pools, right? As we always say, your place for the latest Cardano news, tutorials, and the information you need to grow your investment with confidence. We're really excited to be doing our live stream here. The reason why we decided to kick it off for our first one is to do a celebration for crossing the threshold of 1,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. Really, really appreciate it. It's been a really fun ride so far, putting these things together for you and answering so many great questions in the comments. It's been a lot of fun. And we've been getting a lot of good information and feedback from you guys as well. So wanted to put this out there and see how it goes. You know, we'll take some questions from you all. We'll go through some specific topics we wanted to show you. And then let me know as we go through these things if there's anything you want me to circle back on or dive into more. And depending on how it goes, if you guys think this is like a fun format that you're enjoying and being able to kind of like interface back and forth more in real time versus kind of like the lag that it takes with comments and stuff, let us know and we can start doing it more regularly, like once a month or whatever, depending on what makes sense. Cool. People filtering in from Spain. Awesome. What time is it in Spain right now? Super cool. All right, this is great. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So again, welcome everybody. Say where you're calling in from, just because it's really fun to see how we're all coming together here looking at the same project. And we can give you some shout outs and hellos, and then drop your questions in there. I know people were asking if they can already put in questions, so go ahead and drop them in there, and then we'll do some scroll back and look through them. So I thought it might be good for us to start with, we've got, you know, over the past couple months now, we've added, I mean, if you look at the sort of the library of videos here, we've gotten up to, I think, just under 40 videos, and we have a lot of different things that you guys, that sort of that we try and put out there to help you guys out. And we get a lot of like common questions on things that we've already addressed in previous videos. And so I wanted to kind of just show you a couple things from the site itself. Brazil, that's awesome. A couple things that you can find on our page. We'll go through the different tools we have on the website, and then a couple different other things up here that are already planned out that we can talk through, and then we'll also fill time with any specific questions you guys have. So please go ahead and drop those in the chat. So first thing I wanted to say, when you come to our YouTube page, if you haven't sort of poked around, if you're new to the Cardano ecosystem, we've deliberately put together some playlists here that could help you in different capacities, right? So for example, if you're just getting started, brand new, and you're wanting to buy ADA, or you're wanting to invest and you're not sure even where to begin, like you're at like from scratch, then you probably want to check out this playlist, our crypto exchange playlist. In it, we go through how to select the right cryptocurrency exchange for you. We go into factors here about, depending on what country you're in, what kind of things you're looking to do on the exchange, then how you can actually fund that exchange, how you can do different kinds of buys. If you want to just do dollar cost average and you want to do market buys, or if you want to be a little bit more strategic and you want to set specific levels, how you can do limit buys and limit sells. And then when you're ready to then take your ADA or any other token that you've gotten and send it to your hardware or software wallet, a quick video on how to withdraw. So I recommend that if you're at this phase and you're still kind of like getting started and brand new, check out this tutorial this playlist, and it'll walk you through everything. So that's a good place to start if you're just brand new. The next thing I'd say, once you get that past that point, if you're then saying, okay, so I have my funds, I know how to get them off, but now I'm looking to how do I delegate, then here's our getting started guide, which, in retrospect, I'm thinking this might have been the getting started guide, but that's fine. We'll think about naming. But this one here is to actually go from once you're taking the funds off all the way through to delegating. So if we look at that one, this will show you how do you get set up on the Ledger Nano X from scratch. And I'll stop here and I'll even say for this, and let us know too, if you're using hardware wallets or software wallets. I'm curious actually. I'll pause here and I'll say, let me know which one you guys are using. I'm just curious what's more popular, hardware or software wallets. But I know like personally, when I first got my hardware wallet, the whole process was super intimidating. Even just like the mental barrier of like, okay, I'm gonna order one. I don't know why, but it was kind of like a hang up. And then once it came in, and the instructions that Ledger had put together and everything just seemed so smooth and so straightforward that I was like, oh, like why was I so worried about that? So in the video that we put together there for you, the idea, and for the channel in general, but for that video, the idea is to try and sort of demystify some of that and walk you through it. You'll see it's really, really straightforward process. So if you are at that stage where you're looking to get the stuff off the exchange and looking to delegate, this playlist is a great one for you. We'll show you how to get your ledger set up, how to get the Cardano app installed. And then from there, our comparing video where we'll go through Daedalus, Yoroi, and Adalite side by side, and we'll look to see which one would be the best one for you. And then, because we have to pick one for the sake of a playlist, we show Yoroi. But at this point, once you've decided, you can go to whichever one you want. But you can see from Yoroi how you would delegate, and the wallets are all similar. From there, how to select the right stake pool for you. A super common question about the Cardano delegation cycle. In terms of like when I delegate, how long do I need to wait till I get my first rewards? And then here, this video is actually one that we really enjoyed putting together because if you watch it, it's the 5 most common questions that we'd gotten up to that point, and it's all from community feedback and questions. So all the stuff that you guys have been asking, we consolidated them here to the 5 most common questions, and that'll get you set up there. So if you're at the step where you've bought your ADA, how do I delegate? This will walk you through that process. What else would be good? These are all of our weekly recaps. Oh, so this is if you want us to compare the wallets side by side. This playlist here has those which to choose, and you can see us looking at all 3 of them side by side. So if you want to like binge a deeper dive on all of the wallets, check out this playlist here. These are some of our deep dive strategy videos where we look at like sort of like, really dig into stuff. The pool tool one, crypto taxes. So this is a good time to stop and say, if you guys live in the United States, we're like 2 or 3 weeks now from the tax deadline. Make sure that you are doing what you need to do so that you're not stuck in a sticky situation when it comes to your taxes. Coin tracking, we walk through there how to use coin tracking. It's a free service, and then you can upgrade it if you want. But take a look at that and some things to keep in mind. This is one that we talk about all the time, about making a plan so that you can act calmly and rationally. And then from there, this one we get questions all the time with the confusion about public and private keys, wallets, and then the actual addresses and how they're all assigned. So cool. So that's some stuff there. Oh, and then this one, of course, Jaren will be mad if I don't point this one out because he's done some really good work. So in the chat there, everybody say hi to Jaren in the chat, the guy who's our admin there. When I keep saying our other operator of the stake pool and co-founder, that's him. He's the one. So you guys can thank him. He's the one who's doing, who's putting together all these great tools for you guys in terms of the rewards estimator, and then the payout date estimator. And we'll show you guys both of those again here in a minute. So let me stop and see where we're at with some questions and comments. So Chicago, so here we go. IOHK said they have special announcements this week. Yeah, so Asus, good question. We're going to talk about that. IOHK is planning on doing a big Africa announcement, I think tomorrow. And so we'll take a look at that, and then we'll report to you guys. But we'll show you where you can register if you want to watch that live stream. And we'll look at all of that together here in a second. More ADA coming next month. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game, right, Gabriel? It's all about, make your plan and then slowly be buying into it, and just don't worry so much about like all the noise that's going on. Like if you know you're in a you guys have heard me as a broken record saying this on the recaps, right? But if you know you're in a long-term strategy, then just kind of keep doing your thing little by little, once a month or every time you get a paycheck or whatever else. So and keep adding, and we'll be happy to keep moving forward together with the delegation and growing that way. So 64 Reasons wants to know a price prediction for December 2021 and for December 2022. That's maybe we'll come back to that one in a minute. And I will say too that also as we're live here and we're going through some of these questions, feel free if you have friends in the community that you think would benefit from joining this AMA style sort of Q&A. Go ahead and share it with them, and we'll be happy to answer. Maria, hello from Colorado Springs. Epic Rewards Estimator. So Daniel says, Epic Rewards Estimator is accurate as hell. Received Epic the same amount the website calculated 4 days ago. That's awesome. Super cool. So that's a shout out to Jaren. Good job. So what staking methods do you recommend? You're currently using Exodus with little rates. So, okay, yeah, great. Aces, check out that playlist. So in terms of staking ADA, what we recommend is to always get it off of the exchange, right? Don't be delegating. And actually, you know what? There's a good time for me to let me show this, and I'll show you why. So we covered this in this week's recap, but if you look here at the breakdown of pools across the entire network, you see here that the majority of pools are held by single pool operators, but the very close second here is Binance. They have 64 pools, right? And so you definitely don't want to be delegating on an exchange. Like, get it off of there, put it onto your hardware wallet. If you don't have a hardware wallet, then use your software wallet. And we have videos on how to do, we should make a playlist specifically for software wallets. But we have videos here. We've got this one here, there's no hardware required. It's a video on how to get set up on Yoroi software wallet. And this no hardware required is how to get it set up on Daedalus software wallet. So there's really no excuse. Like if you've already bought your ADA and it's sitting on the exchange and you're auto-delegating through the exchange, make yourself a software wallet, send it to yourself, watch our video on Pool Tool, on here, how to select the right stake pool for you. We would love it if that was us, but we want to make sure that you make the right decision for you and your investing plan. And that's all there is to it, really. You send it to your software wallet, pick your pool, and then delegate. So that's how we would recommend staking in general, as a general rule. What could we expect from? So Gabriel's asking, what can we expect from Cardano 360 on the 25th? So that's what we were talking about. What they're doing. And actually, you know what? Let me transition to that. So there was a tweet here from IOHK saying, so this all here, you know what? I'll do a twofer. We'll answer two questions at once. In place of the regular Cardano 360 this month, bringing something extra special with the Cardano Africa announcement. So this is going to be, here we go, on the 29th at 16:30 UTC instead of the normal Cardano 360. And if you guys are curious, by the way, about Cardano 360 and the format of how it's put together, check out our video that we did. It was the weekly recap that we did a few weeks ago for March's Cardano 360. They packed a lot of stuff into there. So even though it was a few weeks ago, the content there is extremely relevant. They go through a bunch of really interesting stuff, like about protocol parameters, K, D, A naught, how those things are going to be changing, the roadmap for Alonzo, and a lot of people have questions about smart contracts in Alonzo. So that is covered there. So yeah, maybe in preparation for this Africa announcement, just to see kind of how they normally do it, check out the Cardano 360 video from last time. But for April, we've got here, they're going to do a fully featured Africa special. And so this is probably a good moment to kind of like just pause here and talk about that a little bit, right? And, you know, actually I'm curious if you guys, let me know in the comments, in the live chat here. I'm curious, I feel like this happens a lot, and it's definitely what happened with us. And I want to know if you guys are sort of in the same boat where with crypto, you know, you get drawn to these projects because you hear about like, oh, these incredible gains, and you hear about how people like, you know, got multiples of their money. And then as you like dig into the projects that you find yourself investing in and doing some of this fundamental analysis, you find out like, oh, like some of these projects are actually doing really, really interesting stuff, right? And that's why when we were looking at what project we wanted to start a channel on, that's why we chose Cardano, because we saw, okay, so not only is it really doing the thing, you know, like it's not just like talking about it, but they've got, okay, so you want to do proof of stake? Proof of stake is live. You know, you want to do staking on your own wallet? That's live and ready to go. You know, smart contracts, right around the corner. Native tokens, those are live. And then on top of all of that, then what can you use it for? And, you know, I know that like Charles Hoskinson can sometimes say controversial things that sometimes investors wish he wasn't so controversial, and I get that. But there's no denying the guy's passion, right? There's no denying like that you look at Charles and just how insanely intelligent he is, and you're like, okay, this guy's going to keep moving things forward, right? He's going to be making things happen. And then a testament to that is here, right? Like the work that IO Global and IOHK has been doing across the world, you know, where you've got like, so Doge, and we can talk about Doge a little bit later, like Doge, where it's like, okay, this joke coin, and people have gotten, it's literally, for those of you that are new to the space, it is literally a joke coin, right? Like the history of Doge is it was created as a joke to show how anybody could make a coin and people would buy it. And so here we are in 2021 and people are still buying it. So that aside, we feel like Cardano is the exact opposite, where if you look at, and actually you should check out our 360 video because it goes into a lot of these things. If you look at all the strategic partnerships and stuff that they're making across the world, it's unreal. I mean, there have been, we actually referenced this in another video. I think in this guy was probably one of the first times we talked about it, where the Ethiopia deal that keeps getting closer and closer, and Charles keeps hinting at it, you know, sort of teasing at like, oh, the Ethiopia deal, it's going to happen, we're getting there. That's our bet on what the whole point of this Africa announcement is. Nobody knows. Everybody knows it's an Africa announcement. Nobody knows exactly what they're going to go into. But I'll say I would be very surprised if it wasn't some more details around the Ethiopia deal and how they're planning on using the Cardano infrastructure to facilitate economic identity for people that have never had it before, which is incredible, right? I mean, it's really, really cool to think about that the same blockchain that you're doing your staking with, you know, through our pool or any other, is going to enable like millions of people across the world to be able to have their own economic identity and be able to like transfer funds and do things. Really, really cool. So there's a long rant on on both the Africa thing and what Cardano 360 might be, and the big announcement that IO Global and IOHK were putting out. So there's a long answer to 3 questions at once. So there we go. 3 birds, 1 stone. Let's see some other questions here. Using Daedalus right now. Okay, yeah, ledger price. Yeah, totally. I totally hear you. You know, the ledger and the Trezor can be pretty expensive. So yeah, so you know, software wallets are the way to go. Epic time reward from Cardano is still not clear. Gabriel, let's take a look at that in a second. Actually, that could probably be the next thing that we look at here. I want to show you how to use the rewards estimator or the epic timing tool. We'll look at it in a second. Question about removing ADA from crypto. The address is showing invalid. So, KJ, maybe you can clarify a little bit what you mean by removing ADA from crypto. Oh, or you mean from like your exchange to your wallet? Let me know if that's what you mean, and we'll come back to that. Tesseract, hello from Washington. Thank you for all the information. They've been a great tool and guide for the crypto world. Awesome. So glad to hear it. Yeah. Good point, Tesseract. Used to use Exodus, but get a hardware wallet to control the keys. Yeah. Or, use Daedalus, right? We have, if we look here, let me pull Daedalus over here. So, we've got, and so the cool thing too, if you guys didn't know, it's this easy to make multiple wallets in Daedalus as well. So this one here corresponds to our Trezor that we have plugged in right now. This was our Woodland Pool software wallet that we use for a lot of our videos and stuff. And then this one is our ledger that we use. So you can have multiple wallets on here. Most people won't have more than one hardware wallet, but if you want to make multiple software wallets, you can do that. And so like for the question of how do I delegate to multiple pools, especially if you're using a software wallet, you can just spin up, go to add wallet, create a new wallet, and then that's it. That's all you need to do. So yeah, so that's really straightforward. And while I'm showing Daedalus, I'll say if you guys have any questions about wallets, there's also a great time to ask that. So basically, like as you hear in the chat, like think about like any of the stuff that you normally ask us in comments. Go ahead and drop it in here, and then we can look at it together, and we can answer them together here in real time. So cool. There was the question about, okay, Gabriel wanted to know about the time rewards. So let's show that. For those of you that have not been to our website, or if you have not seen our tools videos, I guess I'll point this out. For the new people that joined, we have a playlist for the Cardano staking tools. It'll show you how to use the two tools that I'm going to go through. But yeah, if you come to our website, woodlandpools.net, you come to Delegator Tools. Let's take a look first at the Payout Date Estimator. So let's say, for example, let's say Gabriel went and delegated today to our pool, right? Then actually, you know what? Let's make it a little more realistic. Let's say you delegated a week ago on the 14th. Okay. So here's the idea: is that the lag and the way the snapshots work. Let's look through this together, right? We see here that if you would have delegated on the 14th. These are the epics themselves, and you can think of like every time that we cross one of these boundaries here. So when we talk about boundaries, it's literally like the line between them. Okay. So if we delegated on the 14th, we see that we delegated on the 14th here, and then the boundary between 259 and 260 was the next day on the 15th. So what happens at that point is that a snapshot of that stake pool was taken, including your delegation, on the 15th at the boundary. Okay, so now for the rest of this epic, nothing happens. It's just, okay, we've now captured Gabriel's delegation. And then from there, in epic 261, so you delegated here, the boundary here, the snapshot was taken, nothing happens here. And then when we get to epic 261, starting on the 20th, this is now where your stake would become the active stake for the pool. And then that is what's used for the calculation of how many blocks the pool is going to get. So somebody had a question in the Telegram group about how rewards are assigned. How blocks are assigned. So blocks are assigned based on the size of the pool up to the saturation point. Okay, so when your stake is included in the active stake at this point, yours and everybody else's that was part of the snapshot that was taken here are now active in the active stake. And that active stake is what was used to determine how many blocks is the pool going to get. And it's a probability, so it's not like a direct equation of if this many, then that many, but probabilistically. Pretend I said it right the first time. I can't edit on a live stream. Probabilistically. Depending on the probability, you'll get a certain amount of blocks, and then based on those blocks, then the pool will have to validate them. This is the like I said, the block validation epic. Based on how many blocks the pool validated, in the next epic, rewards are calculated. So, okay, based on the size that your pool is, and how many blocks were expected to get, and how many you actually got and validated, based on all of that, there's a rewards calculation that's done, and then at the boundary of the following epoch, so it would be here on the 30th, is where the payout happens. Okay, so that's a very, very long explanation, but the way to think about it is, if you delegate on a certain date, you need to wait the rest of that epoch, then you need to wait one full more epoch, which is 5 more days, epochs are 5 days long, for the snapshot lag, another full epoch, 5 more days, for the block production phase where your stake is actually working in our pool to produce stuff, right? Then 5 more days for the rewards calculation phase, and at that boundary of the last one is where the payout happens. So so it's 3 full epochs plus however many days you had before the boundary. Okay, so 3 point however many days were left. And instead of having to do all this math in your head, just come to our website, go to the payout date estimator, plug in your date, and then you'll see when your payout would be. All of this, of course, is contingent on the fact that your pool that you delegated to got blocks assigned on that epoch. And so there's also that notion of like consistent rewards versus lumpy rewards and stuff like that and payouts. We can talk about that more if there's questions about it. But we also dive into that in the pool tool video. So another long ramble answer. Cool, we're up to 33 people. That's fantastic. 33 people, only 7 likes. So if you guys can do me a favor, and if you are enjoying it, go ahead and like it now. That'd be awesome. And then we'll keep going through questions here. So let's see what else we got. Gabriel says, Charles loves what the community is creating, but one thing that I don't like is that he not like so much when Cardano prices go up. Oh yeah, so the thing to keep in mind there, right? And I think that the approach that he's taking here is great, because if you think about the different approaches that people are taking in terms of why they are doing their projects, there are people who do it because they want to get rich, and there are people that do it because they want to make some meaningful change. And then they hope that because of that meaningful change, the money will come, right? So Charles regularly talks about how it's not about the price of ADA. It's not about like his personal stacks. I mean, of course, it's easier to say when you're a billionaire, right? But that being said, that it's not about that. It's about like actually doing the thing. He said somebody had quoted this in one of our comments, and we pinned it because I thought it was so cool. I forget what video it was, but Charles, when there was some milestone that we had passed, and he was sort of saying to the broader community, he's like, hey, so for those, I'm paraphrasing, he said something to the effect of, for those of you that are new and they're joining us, we're happy to have you along. And for those of you that don't know who we are, we're Cardano. And if you don't mind, we'd like to change the world, right? And he actually means that with things like this Africa deal and stuff like that. Like, okay, what do we need to do so that we can actually really make a change and really make an impact here? And then assuming that those things go well, then the price appreciation will just happen, right? I mean, like, so I think the way to think about it is like, we should all be rooting for the Cardano project to be doing very well and hitting its goals and its milestones, and these strategic partnerships across the world to be going really well. And then if they do, then our value of our ADA will go up. But so that, Gabriel, is a deliberate reason. Like for Charles, it is a deliberate reason why he doesn't talk about price. Because for him, it's almost a philosophical thing where he's like, I value ADA not in terms of US dollars. I value ADA in terms of the utility of ADA and what can it be used for and what impact can it have. And then from there, if it makes a bunch of money, great. But it's like, what did it actually do? And actually, that reminds me, there's another, actually the same Africa one. So if you guys are kind of curious, this was a cool one. This is one of our weekly recaps. So this one's from a while back. But this is a cool one because it was interesting to hear Charles himself talk about when does he feel like, okay, we made it, because you think about like big companies and sort of like big milestones that they crossed, and then how it's like, okay, this is it, like we did it, we got here. And hearing him sort of muse about like, okay, when is it that for me, Charles Hoskinson, that I would say, okay, we did it, we got there, we did the thing. So that's a cool one to check out there. To a certain extent, these recaps are topical, obviously, but some of them have some good replay quality for some of these specific things. And so I'll call them out as I remember them, as you guys have questions. So, yeah, this is fun, by the way. Gotta admit. So I'll pause here and I'll say here, let's do this. I'll switch back here. and say, again, now that we've got a lot more people to join, I'm going to say, hey, thanks again for everybody. Welcome. Glad that you're all here. Welcome back to Woodland Pools. This is great. You know, it's been a really fun ride so far. Again, I'll say over 1,000 subscribers. That's you guys. Couldn't do it without you. And it's been a lot of fun. And this is great. I think we'll definitely do more of these. Let us know in the comments if you guys want to see more of these. Because this is great, sort of doing these rapid fire questions and getting you guys answers in real time versus maybe, you know, a few hours or a day later or whatever in the comments. So, another thing that I will say, by the way, is that if you also want to be sort of chatting in a little bit more like real-time setting, join our Telegram group. It actually is, yes. I just had to think about it. It's in the description below. You can join a Telegram group actually now if you want in real time. But yeah, here's our Telegram group. We've got about 10 people in it. We only just announced it last week. So it's slowly trickling in. But yeah, so go ahead and join us there. And then in between live streams and things, we can talk a little bit more in real time. So let me switch back to here. All right, let me catch back up on questions. And keep on asking questions. Let us know where you're calling in from. And share the stream with friends if you think it's useful. Let me scroll up. Community creating. In my opinion, Cardano's going to do a huge movement. When it does, people will be caught when someone least expect it. And just saying that way. Yeah, so Tesseract, exactly. So Tesseract said in one sentence what I just rambled about for about 10 minutes. So, well said. Okay, so KJ, going back to your question, you were saying that when you're trying to remove ADA from the exchange, it's saying that the address is invalid. Okay, so we had a question from somebody about ADA-Lite, and so let's just do that. What you're gonna want to do, KJ, is make sure. So here's ADA-Lite. Oh God, of course I did. Perfect. Let me see. Actually, let me do this. Let me get my hardware wallet back in here. So I'm using the Trezor for today's example, but let me, okay, unlock with Trezor. Okay, 1 second. Okay, cool. So this is an empty wallet, empty hardware wallet. So if you guys, if you see our addresses, it doesn't really matter. But so make sure, KJ, that when you're doing your withdrawal, that whatever wallet that you're on, that you come to one of the addresses here and just like copy it like this to the whole thing. Your address that you're sending it to should start with an ADDR prefix. And if it does, it should just work. So yeah. So check that out and make sure. And as we always say, always send a test transaction first. Send whatever's the minimum denomination that the exchange lets you do, whether it's like 4 or 5 ADA. Do just that. And then when that goes through, then go ahead and do the rest. And so we had a question in the Telegram group earlier today from somebody that said they might not be able to make it. And they were asking about multiple addresses. So I want to clarify. Oh, by the way, so as I dive into this, check out our video on here, this one. Crypto keys, wallets, and addresses explained. If you're still kind of unsure about how it all comes together in terms of what is my hardware or software wallet doing, how are my keys generated, where do my funds actually live, that's a super common question, one that we were also confused about when we first got started, so check that out. But to that effect, the thing to keep in mind is that with your public and private keys that are generated, as part of their registration with the network, they are assigned a series of addresses that all correspond to your keys. And so all of these addresses are all tied to the same keys that this Trezor has on it, right? So you can send it to any of these and they'll all arrive in your same wallet. The reason why you have the option for multiple is because as a best practice to try and sort of make it like less predictable in terms of like, oh, okay, these two wallets belong to the same person. You can send it to multiple addresses as a best practice and not reuse them. But if you don't care about people knowing that, hey, these two wallets belong to the same person, you can use the same one. There's nothing wrong with it. I do want to clarify the difference on ADA-Lite though, between multiple addresses tied to the same wallet and multiple, what they call multiple accounts. So ADA-Lite is the only wallet doing this, by the way, right now, the wallet interface. ADA-Lite supports currently the notion of multiple accounts. And so these accounts, the idea is, so a common question a lot of people have asked is, how do I delegate to more than one stake pool from the same wallet? Multi-pool delegation from the same wallet is not out yet. So personally, I would wait until it's more broadly supported on like Daedalus and Yoroi. But Ada Light is taking sort of a first pass at that and doing what they call accounts and letting you make multiple accounts, which is basically as if it was multiple delegatable sections of your wallet, so you can delegate to multiple pools. If you only use Ada Light and you have a hardware wallet and you want to try that out, go ahead. Personally, I would say wait until it's more broadly supported and you can do it across all of the different wallets. But so there is a difference between your Ada Light account and being able to have multiple accounts that are tied to the same wallet. And there's a difference between that and then the different addresses that each of those accounts has. So hopefully that's clear. Okay, so KJ, oh, cool. So yeah, let us know, KJ, once you do that. Circle back and let us know how it went. Okay. Tesseract, another question on the hardware software setup that we guys run for the node. Does it matter on the technology as to the possibility for more blocks to be discovered? Is it purely based on luck? So let me clarify. The way that assignments of blocks to a pool works is based on the size of your pool up until the saturation point. Once you hit the saturation point, once you get past that, you'll still potentially get more block. Well, the way to think about it is the rewards that you would get for a pool continue increasing until you hit the saturation point. Once you hit the saturation point, no matter how much more people delegate, you will not get any more rewards than that. That's why it's important to watch out for pool saturation. But up until that point, the more delegation there is, the more blocks the pool gets, and the more blocks the pool gets, the more rewards are assigned to that pool. Now, in terms of what you're asking about, sort of that sweet spot, the thing about it, though, to keep in mind is that there's the notion of the amount of blocks that your pool was expected to get and the ones that it actually did get. And this is why I was saying before, and I was stumbling over probability. I want to look that up now. How do you say that? Anyway, it's fine. About like the actual probability that you get, right? Because the idea is, for example, our pool right now should be, from a probability standpoint and the calculation that's done for the amount of blocks that a pool should get to validate, our pool right now should be getting more than one block per epoch. Like it was like 1.2, then 1.3. Now we're up to like roughly 1.6 blocks per epoch. So we've gotten a few epochs where we had one. This most current one we got two. The most recent one that we just passed got two. The one that we're in right now, again, we only got one, right? And so from a probability standpoint, we should see it ticking up to two more often as the delegation keeps increasing. But all this to say, where the luck factor plays in is that if you have, if your expected blocks, I'll put it this way, if your expected blocks is 1.2 blocks, you can't possibly do 1.2 blocks, right? So you'll get one or you'll get two. If your expected blocks is 1.2 and you only get one, then when you do the blocks that you were assigned, you just, get some rewards and then that's it. But if your expected blocks based on the probability is 1.2 and then you get assigned two, then that 0.8 blocks difference, you actually get a rewards bonus for basically overperforming. And the thing about the bonus is, if you're expected to get only one and you got two, then your overperformance is by 100%, right? So the network sees, wow, these guys did 100% more than what they were supposed to do. And so for smaller pools that overperform even by a little bit, your rewards bonus that you get is pretty significant, right? Now, let's say you have a huge pool and they're expected to get, 50 blocks, right? And then they validate 51. So now your percentage increase there is, what would that be? Like 100 would be 1%, so it'd be 2%, right? So they only overperform by 2%, getting 51 instead of 50. And so their rewards bonus for overperforming is significantly less than what a smaller pool would get. So what I would say to your question about what the sweet spot is in terms of like potential like swings in price, in rewards, would be pools that are smaller like ours, but you see them on an upward trajectory because they will be continuing to grow and still maximizing on their rewards payout bonuses. But keep in mind that in the long run, all pools, as long as they are validating the blocks they're assigned, they all converge towards between like a 4 and 6% payout anyway. So hopping between a bunch of pools to try and chase the best ROS is probably not advisable personally. Let's say it's actually, at least our approach is very similar to what we say about investing plans in general, right? Like pick a pool that you like, stick with them, go with them for a while, and then, reevaluate in a handful of epochs in a month or two and just see how it's going. If you let yourself get crazy about, oh, shoot, I saw 8% over there, and then you go and chase it, what's going to happen is they probably got lucky, and that's why they got 8%. And then the way that probability works out is that the next couple epochs they may get unlucky, right? It's a dice roll, right? In terms of the exact blocks you get. They might get unlucky, and then all of a sudden, then it's like, then the next one, then you're stuck with like 2 more epochs of like 3% payouts. And you're like, oh, damn, but the pool I just came from, they got 10%. So you run back over there. We actually had somebody reach out to us about that on Twitter, where they were like, we got like when the pool was actually smaller about a month or two ago, we got an awesome payout of like 25% ROS because, we weren't expected to get any blocks because, we were so small and we got a block. And so it was this huge reward. And so we were all celebrating. We're all excited. In the comments and on Twitter and stuff. And then he was like, well, what the hell? I didn't get any payout. And so then he sent us his staking address and we looked him up. And sure enough, he had been hopping between several different pools. And when he hopped from another pool and then came back to ours, he missed the snapshot that put him into the active stake. And then actually the way it worked out was he was jumping between 2 smaller pools. And so he just like shot himself in the foot because he missed the payout for both different pools because he happened to like land on snapshots from when they had missed blocks and not get it when they both hit their high rewards. So best practice, pick one, stick with it, reevaluate after some amount of time and then move. But don't be trying to chase between pools. It's going to drive you nuts and it's not going to work out. So cool. We're getting some more questions in here. Okay, so Gotham staked using your Yoroi wallet. Order Ledger Nano X. Good for you. Congratulations. To use Ledger, you have to undelegate, create a new Yoroi wallet, connect Ledger to the new wallet, and delegate again. That's correct. And the reason for that is because keep in mind that Yoroi generated for you the public and private keys and got the associated addresses assigned to it. And then your Ledger, let's see my handy props. Your Ledger will do the same thing, right? When you actually get it all set up, it will generate for you the private key that only lives on this device. And so it'll get the associated new addresses on here, and they have nothing to do with each other. Even though you're using Yoroi as the interface for your Ledger, and you're using Yoroi as also the interface for Yoroi's software wallet, they're completely different from each other. So yeah, you're gonna have to kind of go back through that lag again, but keep in mind that it's like a one-time thing. You'll have those like 15 days or whatever. And I mean, the reason why you're delegating is for a long-term investment anyway. So just bite the bullet that one time, and then you're good to go, and you can be happy and comfortable knowing that you're doing the thing on your own hardware wallet, and that nobody else has access to your keys. So congratulations on getting the Ledger. That's a really, really big step. So very cool. And again, for those that can't afford a Ledger, go the software wallet route. But either way, do something that you're controlling your keys. Cool. So we were taking back up to almost about 40 people. We're at 25 likes. Make sure you give it a like if you're enjoying the stream. We're having a lot of fun here. So if you're enjoying the stream, go ahead and also share it to friends and stuff and have them join and ask any questions they might have. So let's keep working down our questions here. Price prediction next year. Okay, so we've gotten a few people that have asked about price prediction. So this is my requisite time to stop and say, not financial advice, right? And this is not even a trading channel, right? This is like, and so if this is news to some of you, then I apologize. But this is not a trading channel. Like our whole thing, and the reason why we say it in every single video, is that our goal is to help you be able to grow your investments with confidence, right? And the reason why we started the channel, so I think this is a good segue into why we're even here. The reason why we started the channel is because we're excited about Cardano. We think it's a great project, but there was a lot of things that we had to figure out and learn along the way. Here, how about this? I'll pull this up so you can have some nice price stuff while I'm talking. There was a lot of things that we had to learn along the way that we had to find by either asking around or reading articles or scouring lots of different channels or reading documents or whatever else. And we wanted to make that easier for you all. and kind of just be able to like, let's bring together all these different things that we learned over several years from several really great resources and put them all in a nice packaged way for you. So we can speculate and have some fun looking at where the price might be, but that's not really what the channel is all about. So if we look at sort of where we have been since inception, we see that we, from a standpoint of, if we look at like from a candle body close standpoint, right, we maxed out at just under $1. And then from the all-time high, we made it to about $1.40. That all shot up and happened within about a month. And then we spent, after that, about 791 days. So over 2 years on a slow grind down until we finally finished our capitulation down here. So for those of you that were around for this, that was not a fun time. And we were around for that. And, you know, and we always talk about dollar cost averaging and dollar cost averaging your buys. And the reason why we say that is, and this is the other thing too, we only ever cover and share things on the channel that we believe in, that we use, including these investment strategies and things that we personally use. Do whatever's right for you, but we do dollar cost averaging because it's a great way to remove your emotion from it, to make sure that you are just slowly getting into the market. But in terms of like when's a great time to be buying, this whole time here would have been an awesome time to be buying ADA, right? But for a lot of you, you're like, well, that's nice of you to say, but I'm here today, so what the hell do I do today? But the reason why I point this out is, I think it's important for some context that we keep in mind that yes, like, okay, we're here today and we want to invest today, so what do we do today? But I think it's important at all times for us to keep in mind where we are and how far we've come, right? If we think of it this way, we were on a downward trend, we just saw here, for about 2 years. And then now, just since past March, we showed this the other day, we went up about 9,000% in the next year after that, right? So from here to here is, hold on, that's not right. I'll have to capture it from exactly the bottom. But anyways, trust me, it was like a 9,000% gain. So it's important for us to keep some perspective on where we are relative to where we have been, right? So sure, we can't rewind the clock and coulda, woulda, shoulda to like buy down here. But if we are going to be dollar cost averaging up here, let's make sure that we're still doing it in a way that we don't need this money for a long time. It doesn't matter to us if the price kind of like tanks down and does some of this stuff, or if it kind of just goes sideways here for a while or down here. Make sure that like when we say about making a plan, make sure you actually think through this so that like, let's say you bought it here today, right? And then let's say from there it tanks down to here and I'm not saying this is going to happen. I think it's highly unlikely because we have so much good stuff coming up. So I'll just say that. Let me preface it with that. But if it did, right? And if it lived down here for like a year, would you be okay with that? You know, it wouldn't be ideal, but could you survive that, so to speak, without having to sell it because you needed to sell it because you have to pay back a loan or because you have to like pay your mortgage or something, right? Or rent. So all of that being said, in terms of where we could potentially go, right? I'll say right off the bat that when you hear people saying things like a $50 ADA or a $20 ADA anytime soon, they're just trying to get your emotions worked up. And what they're trying to get you to do is to click on their channel and either buy some product that they're selling or just click on ads that they have. That it's not gonna do that. We're not gonna hit a $50 ADA this market cycle. But if we see how far we've come and that we're now at like, where are we at today? $1.21, and we've comfortably made it up to about $1.50, right? We're in March right now. I think it's totally reasonable to say that we can get up to like $2 or $3 this market cycle, or rather $2 or $3 like this year. I think it's reasonable, but we should be very careful about trying to predict the future, right? Like you shouldn't put yourself in the business. Like there's a guy that we follow, Brian Beamish. He's a really, really great. He calls himself the rational investor. And he always says, you don't want to get into the business of predicting the future, right? And also, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you have to be right about your investment or about your trade. So if we want to like dream and speculate and do some hopium and say, where could it go? $2, $3 I think is super reasonable in like the next year. For like this full market cycle, if this isn't the top, which we are all hoping it's not, and if we sort of continues on in like a nice healthy growth, from there, like $3, $4, $5 ADA when this whole thing sort of blows off and explodes, I think that's reasonable. Could it go even past that? Maybe. I don't think, however, that in this market cycle, I don't think that from a market cap standpoint, I don't think we would be able to make it past like $10. But even then, like 5 to 10 from where we are now, and having already gone up 9,000%, that's a huge run, right? So again, this is not even a trading channel. This is not investment advice. But I don't know. I would just say, like, it's good to think about these things. It's fun to think about, like, oh, what would my account balance be at that time? But the idea here is to not try and predict the future. Don't try and put yourself in a situation where you have to be right about something. Instead, just make a deliberate buying plan. And the same way how I said, like, man, wouldn't it have been great if we were all buying down here? And we were, right? But for those of you that are joining now, you're like, well, cool. Shut up. I'm up here, though. So whatever, like, do your slow dollar cost average buys here. And then I guarantee you that, like, when we're looking at it 3, 5, 10 years from now, and if ADA is continuing to do well and it's hovering around, and again, I'm talking about like 10 years from now, like a $10 ADA 10 years from now, that is reasonable, I think, and upwards from there. If we're several years from now and we're hovering at like, $5, $10, $15 ADA, you'll be pretty happy with yourself for all the buys that you did in here, right? But this is the sexy part the unsexy part that nobody talks about. When we were buying down in this range, now some of you are thinking like, oh man, that's these guys, like, they were buying down there. I wish I'd bought down there. And it's like, well, right. But remember that when we were buying down here, let's do this, because let's sort of like keep this in mind too. When we were buying down here, keep in mind that when we were buying down here, like, they didn't look like this. It looked like this, right? Let me, oh, okay. Hold on a second. I have too much clutter on my screen. It's messing stuff up. It's not. Oh, of course it's not. It's saying that it doesn't want to let me do replay. Let me see if I try this again here. Oh, thanks, TradingView. We'll try to refresh one more time, and then if that doesn't work, then we'll move on. Okay, while that's going, 64 reasons. ADA is down 5%. I'm glad you brought that up, because ADA being down 5% should not bother anyone on this channel. Like, I get why it would be kind of scary, and I get why you'd be like, well, what's going on? But all of us should be here thinking about, like, long-term strategies and long-term investments.